The rain begins to fall as I make my way north through the middle of the West Side. Traveling through this section of the city can be described as passing by block after block of what used to be. Those buildings used to be the headquarters of one of America's largest telephone manufacturing companies. This building used to be a warehouse. That one used to be a factory. As I turn on Madison Street, I passed a boarded-up, trash-filled, abandoned building, where campaign posters for a local politician hang ironically from a chain-link fence. Even this building, which is my destination, used to be something else. A center for life for a community of Irish Catholic Chicagoans who have long since migrated away from the surrounding neighborhood of West Garfield Park. As I cross the intersection towards this massive stone cathedral edifice, two older women in ponchos were handing out flyers for an upcoming protest against a few prominent national politicians. I have the sense that these women were neither residents nor frequent visitors to this part of town. Your first impulse when entering this hall is to look up towards the ceiling and along the walls. Two sets of large stained glass windows depicting what I assume are scenes from the Bible rest in the walls closest to me. In the middle of the hall, a pair of beautiful circular stained glass windows face each other from the opposite sides of the hall. Beautifully restored murals cover the walls above the front stage. The faded brass columns along the walls are decorated with moldings and build up to the impressive vaulted ceilings high overhead. Although many of the audience members were senior citizens, there was definitely a cross-section of people from the community assembled here. This is such a traditionally religious space, inspired by a very different culture, built by people who sang very different songs. And yet, the people here this morning are moving freely and are comfortable in this space. They seem to be home here. 14 men led the audience in song, accompanied by a young, well-dressed man playing the organ and another one playing the drums. Later on, 5 minutes were set aside for audience members to greet each other. A man in a suit greeted me, introduced himself, and invited me to an upcoming Saturday brunch where the men of the community gather. As I was about to return to my seat, I noticed that no one in the rows of benches around me was sitting down. In fact, no one was in any of the benches. The audience members had made their way to one of the three main aisles in the hall and began to stand side by side, holding the hands of the people next to them. Once everyone was standing, a young woman went to the front stage and began to pray for the entire crowd. She said a lot, but one line in her prayer stayed with me. She said, "Even through all of this, thank you." The journey continues in the Garfield Park neighborhood on the west side, at the corner of Washington Boulevard and Kildare.